and you can basically ignore it, but they're like 3 9-minute segments, and it's just a guideline for her, really. So
okay, I'll just ignore it altogether.
Yeah.
It's just to tell Mr. Quiet. Now it's time to stop. Okay, are we on? I think we're on. Hi, everybody.
Mitch Hancock just tagged me in a post.
I did. I did. That was me. Awesomeness. So, yeah, thank you.
Oh,
thank you for being able to fill in, because I had somebody drop, and I was like, hey, can Tom come this day?
Oh, I didn't even know I was filling in. I thought I was special.
Well, you had a different time.
Ah, gotcha.
And then I had a person drop, and I was like, I'm going to see if Tom can come in that day.
Well, I can.
So, yay.
Here I am.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And we're live on Facebook. Hello, fans. I don't know if there's any fans there yet.
Yeah.
Eventually, I will download this and put it on YouTube channel. I'm the only subscriber so far. I probably need to market it a little bit better. I'm terrible at marketing myself.
Really?
I'm really good at doing it for clients. And when it comes to me, I'm like, I have a list that just, I keep putting the same things on at my to-do list, like every week. Of stuff I'm supposed to be doing for me.
Well, it's all about procrastination. I mean, I have the same thing. Just certain elements of my list always seem to make it onto the next week's list.
I don't want to do this right now.
No.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I like, the world's not waiting for me to do this, so I just don't feel like doing it right now.
There you go.
Yeah,
It's like
clients are
grocery
waiting.
shopping.
Clients are like, what? Come on. Get going with that.
Yeah, they like me to show them things if I want to get paid.
Probably.
So.
They're like, come on, show us the design. What's going on here?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Right. Here we go.
Hi, this is Mich Hancock, and you are listening to Mishmash, a place where I get to talk to the weird, wacky, wonderful people of this world, people I adore and want to know more about. Today, my guest is Tom Wall. Tom is the owner of Mitchell Wall Architecture and Design. He believes that a home should represent everything that you are and should fit you like a bespoke suit. I want to use bespoke in everything now.
I try to. I mean, if I can use bespoke at least 3 times a day, it's a good day.
This is like my new favorite word. When I saw that, I'm like, bespoke. I'm just going to walk around and say it all the time.
It's so much better than custom.
Yeah, it is. It's like totally, it also seems kind of English. Like bespoke, darling.
Right. Something
Doesn't
you would
it?
get on Seville Row.
Yeah. So I love it. That was an awesome way to put it. So thank you for that.
Of course.
So tell me about your world, Tom Wall.
Oh, my world. Well, professionally speaking, I own Mitchell Wall Architecture and Design. We're a high-end custom residential company. Well, that's at least what we specialize in.
Okay.
We have done our fair share of commercial work as well, the occasional restaurants, things of that nature. And then outside of work, I'm a father of 2 amazing little boys and a husband of an equally amazing wife. And, trying to keep everything in balance is pretty much what my life boils down to.
Gotcha. Yeah. Good. Balance is good.
It helps.
So I can't even, I mean, I would just love to think of like the coolest homes. You see these homes, you look at the magazines and you see all these great homes. And did you grow up with this?
Well, my father actually started the firm about 42 or 43 years ago. And, he started this residential design firm. And so I grew up around it. My weekends were spent playing in the basement. And this was back when, architecture firms had a lot of cardboard laying around because of a variety of reasons that I don't need to get into. But there was always a lot of cardboard tubes and cardboard sheets and things like that. And so, I would spend my weekends building armor or building models or, fighting with friends with cardboard tubes or whatnot. So I grew up in the firm and I think it's impossible to be around something that much and not be a little bit influenced by it.
Right. Well, were you awesome with Lincoln Logs and Legos and...
Oh, the Legos and Lincoln Logs, sure. When I was applying to colleges, I had a college advisor tell me that the worst thing I could do when applying to an architecture school was to mention Legos or Lincoln Logs.
Really?
Yeah, they say that it's a little commonplace, and a lot of the professors at the collegiate level kind of think it, common.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Architects
I always
tend to
imagine
see.
architects like going, I built this awesome thing with my Legos,
Well, a lot of times when you get those Legos, it comes with the instructions.
Right.
But now there is a set of Legos that I bought, because I still buy Legos, that is all white, has no instructions. It's just a variety of pieces, 2,000 pieces or whatever it is. And it's an architecture set. And it came with this really thick book, and in it are different sections written by famous architects about
Really?
the theoretical practice of architecture and using Legos in that theoretical practice. So it is literally the architect's Lego set.
Oh my gosh. See, because I totally can see coming in and someone saying, what's my house going to look like? And you're like, well, I built one out of Legos for you.
You know, for a while I played
you
with
like this?
the idea of doing client gifts that way, that you could, once the project was finished, we would have a Lego set of their house. Because
Oh my
you
gosh.
can
You
order
can make
custom Legos.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, the things I don't know about Legos.
Oh, it's huge,
They
the
got
world out there.
Quite the team out there, don't they?
There's a whole underground of people who are doing custom Lego sets. It's
I like
a little
their
bizarre.
people.
Oh, the
I
little
have a little
minifigs.
Lego Leia from Star Wars.
One of the original ones.
Yeah, I
Very
liked
nice.
her. I thought she was pretty cool.
She was.
So tell me, I mean, you are living, I mean, you live your joy, right?
I do.
You
I do.
live your joy.
I'm excited every day to go to work, most days.
What are you working on right now?
Ooh. Right now I've got a couple of really cool things going on. I've got a contemporary home that I'm designing in Ladue. That's a larger home, but, you know, lots of glass and concrete and steel, and that's going to be very cool. And then I'm also doing a mausoleum that I'm working on right now, which is, frankly, a one-of-a-kind project. I'm really amazed and flattered that I was given this project. And I'm also working on a bell tower for Bellefontaine Cemetery, the historic cemetery in North St. Louis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that I'm working on that are really kind of out of the ordinary, which makes my life that much more interesting.
So we gotta go back to mausoleum.
Okay.
Like, right? You're right. Come on, you can't just say that.
Just
and not
gloss
say
over it?
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, what? Tell me more. What does this mean?
Oh,
Is this
goodness.
for like one person or for a whole bunch of?
Well, it's a mausoleum for one family.
Okay.
So it's a prominent St. Louis family, and I do,
Of course, you don't
protect
have to
my
say.
clients,
Yeah, no,
right?
absolutely not.
But it will be the first new mausoleum built in Bellefontaine in 70 years. And so not only does it have, that level of import, but these people have asked me to design the eternal resting place for their family in generations to come. I mean, the responsibility therein is really intimidating.
That feels responsible.
Well,
I
it's terrifying. I mean, somebody's house, they can always sell that and move out. But,
Right,
but
right.
This is so permanent and so indicative of those people, and it's it's one of those projects that's almost terrifying to start on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's so interesting. So you do all kinds of things.
All kinds of things.
Not just homes.
No, I'm designing a TV right now for a client, and I'm going to have to explain that one.
Yeah. I'm not going to let you off that easy.
So they want to have a contemporary but mid-century modern influenced home. And so they don't want to just have a flat screen TV on the wall. They wanted to have it built into a box that was, something more reminiscent of the 50s, but at the same time contemporary. So I'm designing this TV box for that to go in.
So, like one of those 50s TVs with the flat screen in it?
It was something along those lines.
That sounds so cool.
It'll be
that
fun.
That sounds very
yeah.
retro.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Okay, that would be fun. Is
Yeah.
it aqua?
I haven't colored it yet.
Retro is aqua.
Yeah, sure. All sorts of colors are, that kind of faded
Or like
green.
that weird, that weird yellow, or
or brown is always a good one for the 50s.
Yes, there you go. So, do you have a favorite era that you sometimes pull from, or does it just depend on the project?
Oh well, mid-century modern design aesthetic is probably my favorite historical aesthetic. But right now, it's such a cool time to be designing. There's so many different things that we can do now that we could never do before. Combination of materialities and structural advancements and things like this, we can now build like we were never able to build before.
Oh, how cool.
So it's a lot of fun.
Well, and then, I'm sure there's just amazing design software that just keeps getting better every year and helps people to really understand what the space is going to look like. And
yeah, it's true. There is a lot of design software out there. I think it's very easy to fall into, this kind of software abyss where all of a sudden the computers are doing the design for you. It's why I start all my projects still on pencil and paper.
Gotcha.
I do eventually get into the computers, and we do virtual reality for our clients. They can put on the headset and see what their kitchen's going to look like before it actually gets built.
Fun.
Which, frankly, a lot of people have trouble visualizing what a project is going to look like just from elevations and plans.
Yeah, I'd be that person.
Yeah.
I need like a real visual.
Well, and we've always built models in the field
Right.
of architecture, going back to the original architects. But now we're getting into more and more detail. You can do these photorealistic renders, and you can do these walkthroughs, and you can provide all of these things to a client, so there's no questions.
How cool. Well, listen, Tom, we are going to take a break, and we will be right back. How you doing?
Good. How am I doing?
Ladies. Great. Yeah. Is there anything in particular you want me to... Oh, well, let's talk about the charities, right? You've got some charitable things that you wanted to talk about. There was a thing at the library you did?
Yeah.
Right? What do you want to talk about?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I emailed Stephanie about this the other day. I'm like, what am I going to talk about?
Yeah, well, the Haven at Grace, he's very involved in the board there.
Yeah,
so
that was one
certainly
of the
out of-
things that was shared with me, Haven of Grace.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should talk about that. That's coming up.
It actually got moved, so the date on that.
Oh, okay.
So that's up in
But
the air
we can
again.
talk about
But we can talk about
we
the
can
charity.
talk about it, yeah.
I also am on the board of Bellefontaine Cemetery.
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of sounds like a conflict of interest. What else do I do?
I had about the When Worlds Collide, Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah,
When
that
Worlds
was
Collide at the
yeah,
Central Library.
The gala we threw for that.
Did you love that library, right?
We
do you know
do.
Deanna Coleman Levitt? Do you know her?
The name's familiar.
She's the one that did a lot of the design.
Okay.
In there. Yeah, she was
No.
one of our TEDx speakers.
Oh, you said that's
Yeah,
right.
and she did a whole thing about the library.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
it was
cool.
really cool. Okay, well, let's talk about Haven of Grace. Let's go there.
Okay.
All right. And away we go.
So we are back with Tom Wall, and Tom, you were involved with more than architecture, of course. You're a busy guy. Tell me
Yeah.
about Haven of Grace.
Haven of Grace is a charity that I sit on the board of. It is essentially it's a place for pregnant, homeless teenage women to come and to learn life skills about how to properly raise a child, how to care for a child, how to get a job, how to maintain a professional lifestyle. It basically teaches them everything they need to know to be a parent and to be, a functioning member of society. It's a lot to take on, but we have a wonderful campus where we have on-site residences where, some of these women can live.
Really?
And then, some of the people who have come through the Haven have gone on to do some really successful things. So it's a really nice charity to be involved with.
That's awesome. I mean, because that's a tough position to be in. A teenage
assume.
mom, how a lot of those women end up being very poor
Mm-hmm.
and very, low education. And so as part of if they're living on campus, then they are getting an education. They are learning how, and you also hear about how they don't know how to feed the baby, they don't know how to take care of the baby, so they're learning all those skills.
Right. I mean, as far as the education they're getting is more in the care of themselves and of the child.
Okay.
And in understanding, anything from nutrition to balancing a checkbook.
Right. But you need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are like very important skills to
Right,
have.
right. But my point being that, we're not teaching them Chaucer.
Okay. It's probably not top of the list
Probably
at
not,
that time.
no.
But that's awesome. And there's a campus for them.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a really wonderful group to be involved with.
Okay. And then I was reading about you were doing something with the St. Louis Public Library. Tell me about that event.
Okay, so my wife and I, we really like throwing parties. We always have. And one thing that we found ourselves doing more and more is planning galas for charities. And for the St. Louis Public Library, they asked us if we wouldn't mind being one of the co-chairs for the gala. The When Worlds Collide was the theme of it. It was the library, when they hold their gala, it's always themed around some sort of genre of literature. And so we did atomic fiction, going
Love
back
it.
to my 1950s finish. But it was really cool. It was a wonderful party. We raised $95,000 for the library, and this is for the downtown branch of the St. Louis Public Library.
fun.
And, yeah, it was a blast. A lot of fun.
Well, what were some of the elements of the gala?
Oh my goodness! I mean, you're doing it in the downtown public library space, so you're really limited in what you can do.
Right.
You know, they don't want
Right.
to have open flame, for example, in the middle of a
Why
historic
not?
library. I don't know. They're really squeamish.
It just takes away the
so
fun.
bizarre.
Come on, guys.
It was yeah, stifling my creativity. But no, we had wonderful lighting throughout that really kind of transformed the place, as well as all these different props and stand-ups and things like that to make it feel more of a 1950s atomic era type, alien landscape. The rooms were all illuminated different colors, projections, and we hired dancers who were all dressed kind of in robot kind of stylization.
Fun.
It was a blast. It was a good time.
So, do you like the old 1950s science fiction movies at all? Did you watch, like, It Came from Outer Space? Or I can't remember. When I was
sure
a
that's
kid,
one of
we
them.
used to watch them. Like, there'd be, like, this huge spider that was eating the town.
Walking over a model.
And it was hilarious because, back then we're like, oh my gosh. But really, I mean, now you look at that and you're like, it's just a big spider.
Oh, I know.
Have crawling over some Legos.
Right. Back to the Legos. I don't know that much about those movies. I'm a big fan of 1950s sci-fi fiction. The literature part.
Do you have some favorites?
Oh, probably The Moon is a Harsh Mistress is one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, that sounds like, wow.
Well, it's thinly veiled social criticism of political parties at the time.
Gotcha.
Which most of these sci-fi books are.
The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. Now I'm gonna speak completely different. After I've met you, I'll be saying bespoke and that. So
Harsh Mistress.
Yes, yeah. I'm gonna pick up a lot.
I was riding my
from
bike
you.
to work, and the wind was a harsh mistress.
Just love it. Oh my gosh. Do you write? Because you I mean, come on. Everything I see about you, it seems like you've got that writer in you.
I have been known. My undergraduate degree is in literature.
Okay.
I have my master's in architecture. And I do write, when the mood hits, and I enjoy it. Yeah, it's a nice outlet.
What's your wife's name?
Meagan.
Okay, so do you and Meagan, do you guys have like the rockin' parties? Like if you get invited to a party at the Walls, you are so lucky because these people go all out.
We have 2 parties a year. One is our pig roast. We do that every summer.
Do you roast a whole pig? Like
we
really?
do, yeah.
That takes a long time.
Yeah. But you know
is
what?
it like
As long
a
as
day?
you drink the whole time,
It's good.
a lot of fun.
And it probably is better in the end.
Oh, sure.
This
But
meat's awesome.
that starts around 7 in the morning is when we get the pig and get it on the coals.
How many hours does it really take?
Oh, I think it's about an hour per 7 pounds, something like that, an hour per 10 pounds. I don't remember offhand.
Dang.
But yeah, that's always a really good time. And then every Halloween we have a Wall-o-ween, which is our huge Halloween party.
Oh, fun.
And that's the one we really, really go all out for. At this point, Meagan has put an embargo on any new purchases of Halloween props. And sometime around August puts me on an allowance so I can't go out and start buying things. But the decorations, lighting, everything for that party is over the top. From inside to outside, it's decorated with animatronics and a lot of things that I build myself. I've studied a lot of 19th century stagecraft, back when these charlatans were convincing people they were talking to their dead relatives on stage.
Oh,
a lot of that
awesome.
technology is really helpful in doing a haunted house. And so I do that at my house.
Oh, how fun. Okay, so what is your most favorite costume? Like, I'm going to guess you dress up in a costume of some sort.
We do. And, of course, you can never repeat. And
No.
My wife, who's incredibly creative as well, helps me make them usually. But I guess 2 years ago we went as David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly from Labyrinth.
Really?
Remember that movie?
Yes, I do.
There's a scene where they have there's a masquerade scene, and we kind of did the costumes from that. That was a little over the top and insane. We did Harvey Birdman and Bird Girl, which was a little known cartoon from Cartoon Network. Adult Swim.
I gotta say, I don't know that one. I don't know that one.
I think half the fun in doing costumes is having to explain it to someone.
Right.
Because then you get to feel like, the superiority, like, oh, you don't know what this is? Well, let me tell you.
You should
This
be
is Harvey
watching
Birdman.
You've never heard of it?
You've never seen this show?
The coolest
It's
thing
amazing.
to watch.
Oh, my God. Who are you? Why are you at my party?
And are your kids in on this? Like, I mean, for your kids, is like everybody around the neighborhood waiting for the Wall kids to show up with their cool costumes?
I'll tell you that, I mean, the kids get to pick their own costumes, obviously, whatever they want to be. For Fletcher, my youngest, he is obsessed with sports. This year, he wanted to be a football player. So you try digging up a football helmet for a 3-year-old. I mean, that's a hard thing to do because
No,
of
they wear the
liability. They
great
don't
big
make them
huge
anymore.
one, right? Yeah, right.
So we got him jersey, and then Meagan somehow found these little tiny shoulder pads. It was adorable.
Aww.
And then Henry wanted to be a monster truck driver. And so Meagan found a little, one-piece jumpsuit and sewed a bunch of patches on it and, had it screen printed on the back for Orion Racing. His middle name is Orion.
Okay, gotcha.
And
his middle name is Orion.
Yeah.
Like the constellation Orion?
Yeah.
Is that your favorite constellation?
Well, the story there, my father was a very advanced amateur astronomer.
Really?
And little known fun fact about Tom Wall is that I have been to all 50 states. And the reason I've been to all 50 states is because whenever we would go on vacation, my dad would make us take his telescope. And this thing was too big to just put into overhead compartments, so my mom and sister and I would drive to whatever location we were going to. My dad would fly and meet us for the vacation, but we would have his telescope. And so some of my fondest memories of growing up were staring through my dad's telescope. And a lot of times he would point out the nebulae in Orion. And, my dad died when I was 19, and so naming Henry Orion was a bit of an homage to him.
How cool. Yeah. I love Orion. That's like one of my favorite constellations, and there's a star in there. The Betelgeuse is one of the stars.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm I was a nerd astronomer kid.
Nice.
So I was the kid that would wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and no matter how much snow, I mean, I remember, I have a memory of me trudging out in the snow with with my telescope so that I could see. It was the best time to see Saturn. That's why I was out at this crazy time. And my parents were like, we don't understand her. She does weird things. She gets up in the middle of the night and looks at Saturn. But
the weird people are the fun ones.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. And the reason why I didn't become an astronomer was because it required math. I just wanted to look through the telescope all day long. Right. Once I found out you had to do math, I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work
become
for me.
an astrophotographer. That would have been easy.
There you go. Wow, I'm not a
Now
very
you're
good
doing this,
photographer
though,
either.
and-
Look at me, a live face by God. It's not the best.
You
I'm
should have
not
wiped
good
off
at
the
this.
lens. It's a little
And I
foggy.
did, and it's still foggy. Every single one of mine is foggy. I've decided this is my trademark.
Maybe it's
Foggy
a filter.
pictures.
Yeah. It's the Mich-filter.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. That's so cool. I love it. I would have never thought about naming your kid after. I love Orion.
Yeah, Henry Orion Wall.
Does he think that's as awesome as it is?
He actually can't remember his middle name half the time. He's fine.
Gotcha. Okay, good.
But yeah,
He'll get there.
he knows Henry Wall, and we're good with that.
That's good for now.
That'll get him home if he's picked up by the police. So.
I love it. Okay, and what's Fletcher's middle name then?
Maslin.
Maslin.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
We were a little flummoxed on what to name the kid. Fletcher has no familial meaning. It's just we thought it was a cool name.
Gotcha.
And Maslin is French for little Thomas.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. I want to hang out with you guys. You guys seem way cool.
That's really cute.
All right, I am ready.
All right.
Are you ready?
I am.
We are back with Tom Wall. It is question time.
Ooh.
Are you ready?
I didn't know this was going to be part of it.
Oh yeah, no, it's believe me, you can do this. Okay, so let's
7.
So how many pets do you have?
Ooh, I've got 4 pets, 2 cats and 2 dogs.
See, that's a lot of pets.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite pet story?
I have a favorite pet.
Talk about your favorite pet then.
Well, let's see. I've had Butter since I lived in Los Angeles.
Butter.
Yeah,
Aww.
she's a sweetheart. She's my old dog. She's a boxer pit mix. I rescued her from the South Central Pound. And she's got to be 14 now, even though I don't admit it.
Yeah, we have a boxer. He's like 13. But boxer, now I don't know about boxer pit mix, but I know with boxers, they're like little people.
Yeah.
They are people. People that don't have boxers don't understand.
Well,
how
I think
they
that
are.
could be said of any dog breed. I mean, people who don't have Chihuahuas don't understand that.
But are Chihuahuas people like?
I don't know. I refuse to look at them.
Yeah, the boxer feels like a person.
It does. There's a lot of personality there.
Yeah. And they all do that thing with their paw.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Does Butter do that? Yes,
of
I
course.
love it. Oh my gosh. Hi, Butter. Okay, so tell me about. Okay, so like all the architects ever that
Oh.
are alive now, dead, whichever. All right, you get to have a 1-hour conversation with one of them. Who would it be? Oh, that's very tough.
Mies van der Rohe is probably my all-time favorite architect. 1-hour conversation would be difficult. He was German, so
You can have a translator.
Okay,
we'll
good.
give you a translator.
But him or Corbusier, one of those two guys, who was French. But
Again,
yeah,
translator.
translator, right. They're both phenomenal and groundbreaking in the field of architecture.
In what way?
Well, Corbusier was the one who coined the phrase that a home was a machine for living. And that's something I really adhere to. The idea that it's got to function appropriately. I mean, so much of what happened at the end of the 19th century in architecture, where it was, very ornate and not necessarily really functional, but everything was about the way it just looked. It was form over function.
Right.
But now we've begun to understand that you have to have this perfect balance of the two.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my greatest pursuit whenever I work with a client, is to have a home that not only represents their function and how they're going to live in the home, but then on top of that, the aesthetic form that I can bring to it and my education therein, and the form that they want. I always tell my clients, I don't have to live in your house, you do. But, I want to make sure that we develop this together so that we can have that form and function balance.
And what's the process? I mean, if somebody comes in and they're like, "Hi, I would like you to design my home," are they showing you, "I like this, I like this, I like this," or what are they? How does it go?
Well, it used to be, and I'm saying used to be meaning like the last 40, 50 years, that people would come in with tear sheets out of magazines or photographs of friends' houses, things like that. These days, people use Houzz or Pinterest a lot.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they probably have a Pinterest board they're showing you.
Pinterest board, or I always recommend people use Houzz, Houzz.
Yeah.
That one is such a great tool. But what'll happen is they'll put together these boards, and I'll look at all their photos and be able to kind of distill from that an overall aesthetic that they're trying to achieve.
Right.
So
Cool.
yeah.
So you've known me for very little, but if I was like, let's design a house, what elements would I have in my house designed by Tom Wall?
What elements? Well, a lot of it would become boil down to how you live. Are you married? Do you have pets? Do you have children? Do you need a mudroom? Do you want a parlor? Do you need a basement? I mean, these are all part of the programming process, which is usually a 2 or 3 hour long meeting. It's a very intense process where we go through every room of the house, discuss everything you want in that room, and try to figure out exactly what it is you're trying to achieve.
Wow, so it's your house.
Absolutely. It's
it's
bespoke.
It's bespoke. Let's bespoke me. So I mean, tell me some of the houses that you've designed that, like, were there any that really stand out, like my favorite, or I was so happy I did this part, or a person came back to you and said, "Oh my gosh, this is the best mudroom ever"?
I don't know that I've had that compliment. I did have one client who, every so often, and this is kind of the brass ring, where it'll happen where I'll get hit with an inspiration, and that inspiration is almost like a wave. It's like I can ride it, and it gets to the point where I've stopped designing, and the design just kind of creates itself.
Ooh.
And I'm able to, just by following the guidelines of the inspiration, create everything that needs to be created for the home. And that happens so rarely, but when it does happen, it is something exceptional. And I designed this one house for a family one time, and they were very spiritual people, and I developed this entire floor plan philosophy off of biblical numerology, the numbers inherent in the Bible, and then on top of that, the different elements of man and the different elements of the Bible, and all these things. The entire floor plan was influenced by the Bible. And I'm not a religious person, but doing the research on this, I discovered that there was this way that it could all be controlled, this entire floor plan's design. And from that, I was able to extrapolate that this really amazing floor plan. And that's the only time in my life I've ever had a client applaud me at the end of my presentation. And that was something special.
That's so cool. So you said numerology. Like what numbers were, like, how did that come into play with the design?
Well, I mean, if you were to look up what was it? I'm blanking on the Hebrew word for it, but there is a specific field of study within the Bible, and especially when you start looking at the Old Testament,
Right.
and you start looking at Hebrew letters all have numbers associated with them, and so from there you can extrapolate all this different information, and as long as you kind of stick to one idea, you can really start to develop things from that idea.
That's so amazing.
It was fun.
Wow, how cool.
But then, other times, especially with contemporary design, it comes down to volumes and how they interplay with each other. So not everything has to have a biblical meaning.
Well, right. No, I gathered that part.
Right. So, volumes and void, and I've got 2 different houses right now that are both contemporary designs that I'm very proud of, and I can't wait to see them both get built. But
And I'm guessing you think a lot. I mean, do you know about feng shui, or is that just like a natural thing for you? Do you know what I mean? Because like my mom has never studied feng shui, but my mom has a way of decorating her house that you just know the energy is moving, and it's got like the right elements in every single room. I mean, it's probably just natural to you, right?
Well, I mean, feng shui. We had a client who was very interested in feng shui and demanding in feng shui.
Ooh.
And
that seems weird together.
Well, I'm not going to go there.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
My associate Rachel, who is working closely with her, I think pulled out almost every hair on her head as a result of trying to meet the feng shui demands. But I mean, there are certain things that in feng shui are almost just commonplace and common sense in the world
Right.
of design. I personally don't like when stairs are the first thing you see when you open the front door.
Yeah.
And that's a big no-no in feng shui.
Right.
You can't have the energy spilling down the stair and out the front door.
Right.
Putting a mirror right at the front door is a bad idea. I mean, because in my perfect world, when you open the front door, the first thing you see is the light out the back. I want you to be able to see outside the second you step inside the house. And in a perfect design, you can see nature no matter where you are in any room. I mean, obviously, if you're standing in a corner and staring
Right.
in a corner, you're not going to be able to. But, when I design a kitchen, I always try to make sure that if you're standing at the sink, you're able to look outside. Or if, like I said, if you enter into the front of the house, you can see directly out the back. People are photosensitive. We want to be drawn to light. We go towards light. So what better way to invite people into your home than drawing them in with the use of light?
I love it. Wow, Tom Wall. That is awesome stuff. I love it.
Thank you.
So, tell us where we find you.
Well, physically I'm all over the place, but on the internet you can find us at mitchellwall.com. That's mitchellwall.com. I have a seldom used Twitter feed.
You're on LinkedIn.
I am on
found you there.
LinkedIn. I have a great Twitter handle, though. It's STL Architect.
All right.
So that's that one I'm holding on to.
That's very good. Do not get rid of
No,
that.
and then of course my company has its own Twitter feed and its own Instagram account and Facebook page, and as do I. So
Very awesome. Well, thank you so much. I am
Thank you so
glad
much.
to know you.
Aw.
And it was that fabulous information, fun to learn about.
well, hopefully I get to talk to you again.
Absolutely. And everyone out there, you've been listening to Mishmash. Please make sure to go to iTunes and subscribe. And everybody have awesome days. Thank you. Very cool. Very cool.
He's very good. He's very well spoken, right?
I'm telling you, but it's so interesting because, I mean, that is, something as personal as building a house for someone,
It is.
And then being able to like understand the people and the needs and put that all together, like you said, form plus function, which, I think
It's an
about
incredibly
things
personal
like,
experience.
the old houses that were so dark and there were no windows
Yeah.
and all the rooms feel so tiny. I'm thinking, how do people do this? Because now we
Yeah, you gotta have space.
you
Yeah.
know, and you want to see everything from one place. You want to be like sitting in one room and be like, there's the kitchen,
Yeah,
there's the
open
bedroom.
floor
It's like,
plan.
I see everything, And
That's one of the biggest requests I get when people call me in to do a renovation is, look, can we open the floor plan? Can
Right.
we make the kitchen bigger? Can we do this? Because, in the 30s and 40s, people had staff. They had somebody who would cook for them. So they didn't
Right.
care if their kitchen was big. That was just where, whomever was going to be working.
Right.
So, yeah, it's definitely changed.
Wow. So cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
being
much.
here
It's
today.
a lot of fun.
I appreciate it. And I will let you guys know when it's up.
Okay.
It usually takes me a couple weeks or so to get it out there. Again, I really do try to get things done on time.
I
But,
just put
you
it on
know,
the to-do list.
It'll be up, but I really do get these out there. I don't
That's
like sit on them forever.
That's good.
Yeah, and then we'll repost it to all the social.
Cool,
media sites
cool.
and
I'm so
everything.
excited.
Yeah, thank you. So
And
much.
the live feed, is that going to be on your Facebook page?
It'll be on the Facebook page, and then and like I said on my YouTube channel, it has 1 subscriber. Somebody go subscribe to that YouTube. Go to Mish
I-
and
you know what,
subscribe
I will go
to
back
it.
to the office and
I should
subscribe.
tell people. I mean, at some point,
Do it
I
right
really
now.
will. I really will market all this better. But it's a joy to do it. It's so fun, and people. I mean, just from people I talk to, that's where I know it's out there, because I have people going, "Oh my gosh, that was so interesting, your podcast." I'm like, I'm so glad you listened. I wish I knew you listened. I wish I knew how to measure this stuff, but no one, iTunes doesn't tell you.
They don't.
Secret.
No, they just let people listen.
Yeah.
They don't tell you if anyone's listening?
They don't tell you like how many people have listened.
Oh, that's
or,
miserable.
Yeah, it's really now on SoundCloud, but not everybody. Most people go to iTunes for this.
Well,
kind
probably
of thing,
because
so.
if iTunes release that, then some people might start asking iTunes for money.
How dare us?
Maybe. Well, because then we'd want to post it to all of our, and then are they going to charge us if we use that and then post it elsewhere for other people to listen?
Yeah.
And
That's what happens when you own the
It's
world.
messy.
You get really picky about it.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh! Well, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
See, the finish button's on this one. We had to search for it. Bye, everybody.